What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League featuring an upgraded triple Crocodilia theme team since both Feraligatr and Krookodile got move updates this season. Now I'm sure you've already seen 10 plus videos featuring Shadowclaw Feraligatr because it is now a very strong Pokemon, but for me Krookodile was the most enjoyable of the trio to run with the newly buffed Brick Break, and I was literally able to solo full teams whilst running it. Of course these are early ranked battles, so some of these opponents are going to be running the most random teams you can possibly think of, some being very favourable for my Krookodile, but that's just how it goes on day one of the new season. Before we get into the battles, I want to quickly mention that last night I made a community post talking about potentially introducing memberships to my channel. Some of you left feedback, which of course I do appreciate, and I'll be giving my response to the suggestions at the end of this video, so stick around until then if you're interested. But with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What do you think is the most underrated move update this season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, the Krookodile into Chargebug. So this is a bit of an awkward matchup. The opponent's going to swap out anyways into Shadow Feraligatr, and this is quite similar here because we are of course resisting the Shadow Claw damage, but a Hydro Cannon would basically one-shot us. And now we're going to go for a bait with the Brick Break. Brick Break of course has the guaranteed chance to debuff the opponent's defense and the opponent's shields anyway. So now I'm going to shield this up. I will be able to fully Mudslap farm them down here and come out with a ton of loaded energy. So let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Crocodilia. I'm going to go for a Crunch here, throwing just before they make it to a potential Grass Knot, and Crunch is going to be no-shielded by the opponent. Opponent trying to call a bait there. I get the Crocodilia very low. We can let the Grass Knot go through. Going to come in with my Feraligatr. I don't care if the opponent tries to make a catch. Just going to fire off the Hydro Cannon straight away. Grabbing the final shield from the Crocodilia, they swap back into Chargebug, and we've got Skeledirge to hard punish them. I can let this move go through, doesn't matter what they throw. Even a Crunch would not take us out, but they actually go for X's. I've got no idea why, but it doesn't matter. Shadow Ball takes out the Chargebug. They come back in with the Crocodilia, and we still got a full health Feraligatr, but Future Sight doesn't even take us out there. Incinerate takes that Crocodilia, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we see a Alolan Raichu in the lead, so a very good lead matchup for us. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into a Cast Form, and this was one of the first battles I did, and there's always a few battles at the start of the season where you face an opponent and you're like, what on earth is this team that they're running? You can also see less so for the Cast Form because it is at least into the 1300s, but the Alolan Raichu, I believe, was only at like 1000 or like 1100 CP there. So either way, I'm going to go for a Brick Break, throwing on the CMP tie with the next Rock Weather Ball. Brick Break will be taken out the Cast Form, and now they come in with an Uxie, which is also very under level. They probably caught this at the recent Sinnoh Tour, but I mean, it's not going to be very good here. I'm going to be able to fully Mudslap, farm down the Raichu, and at this point the opponent should be giving up, but it doesn't matter. We can go for a Crunch here, and Crunch will be enough to take out the Uxie, and I'm able to take that game. So of course, Krookodile sweeping a full team there, but I mean, the team wasn't necessarily the best team that I've ever seen. But into the next battle, we're going to see the opponent Safe Swaps into a Poliwrath. I literally have no idea what I'm supposed to do there. Obviously, my entire team doesn't do particularly well. Skeledirge does okay if we've got like even energy, but obviously when they Safe Swap it, we're going to be behind on energy. And of course, Feraligatr does resist all the typical charge moves, but it's still not that comfortable either, just because counters do a lot more damage than the Shadow Claws are doing from my Feraligatr. And now I will be able to make it to a second Hydro Cannon here, grabbing both shields from the opponent. But they are going to come out with a lot of load energy. They're going to fire a charge move straight away. This should be the Scald. It is the Scald, but I don't think I'm going to be able to fully Incinerate, farm them down. I panic. I honestly had lost track of the accounts at that point. They're now going to come in with an Umbreon. I'm going to go for the Brick Break here. Brick Break going to debuff their defense, and now that will mean Disarming Voice is going to do a lot more damage. The point allows me to make it to a second Brick Break here, and this will get Umbreon into the other health. One more Mudslap, two more Mudslaps, gets them incredibly low to the point where what I should have done is committed to a full Incinerate, farm down. Instead, I throw my charge move straight away. This is a mistake because I can very comfortably live a foul play, but an Earthquake from a Clodsire is a different story, and now unfortunately Shadow Ball is going to be nowhere near enough damage to take out the Clodsire. They make it to the Earthquake here in time, unless they go for like a Mega Horn. Earthquake will be taking us out, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Skuntank in the lead, so a great lead for the Krookodile. The opponent's also choosing to stay in here, and I'm going to go for a full Mudslap farm down at this point. I'm going to shield this up. Could be a Trailblaze. It is the Trailblaze. That would hit for super effective damage. It does boost their attack, but these poison jabs still weren't doing too much here. They now come in with a Alolan Sandslash. This is not a good answer whatsoever. We go for the Brick Break, grabbing a shield, debuffing their defense, making it to a second Brick Break, taking out the Alolan Sandslash, and the opponent's got a Quagsire in the back, so not sure why they didn't come in with it, but at this point I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to double shield my Krookodile, see how much damage we can deal in this matchup. Of course, we have seen a full 1v3 solo, but that was against a pretty questionable team here. But anyways, we get them very low already. We can now just come in with the Feraligatr. It's going to be game over, so the opponent just concedes the match there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, an amazing lead for the Krookodile here as we lead into Togedemaru. They swap into Toxicroak. Now, of course, I could have swapped into my Skeledirge, but actually, again, I'm just like, let's see how much damage Krookodile can do here. And the opponent overfarms, allowing me to get the Mudslap farm down. And now they come in with an Umbreon, so I'm not going to swap out here. There's no point. We're just going to go for a Brick Break. Brick Break, once again, going to debuff their defense. We actually grab a shield there from the opponent. And at this point, you know, there's no point shielding really. I'm going to let the Krookodile finally go down, come in with my Shadow Feraligatr. I can tank anything they throw here, so I will let the first move go through. The opponent goes for the foul play. If they swap back into Togedemaru, we've still got a very strong response in the form of Skeledirge. I'm going to shield this up. The opponent doesn't bait. They full send the Wild Charge, and that allows me to take them out in just 2 Incinerates. They come back in with the Umbreon. We can now go for a Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice is going to grab the final shield from the opponent, and at this point, I think the safe play is just to shield this up, go for a second Disarming Voice. I don't think this will quite be enough damage to KO from this range, but it doesn't really matter. Disarming Voice coming through, does big damage to the Umbreon. They're going to have to fire off a charge move to get rid of us. They're going to go for the foul play. It doesn't quite take us out there, so we just swap back into my Feraligatr. I'm able to Shadow Claw, farm them down, and take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, awful lead for us. So we're going to say swap into my Feraligatr, and the opponent is going to swap into a Lantern. So far, completely hard countering me. Not a lot I can do, but we're going to go for a Crunch here. Crunch is going to be no shielded, and we get a defense drop. And this might actually grab a shield from the opponent. If we get a shield advantage here, that will be very big for us. But the opponent is going to come out with a ton of loaded energy. And as I've said already, Krookodile, not the bulkiest Pokemon. So unfortunately, we can live one Surf, but we're definitely going to have to tank we're going to have to shield the second one. That does a lot of our health, but I will be able to shield this up and go for a full Mudslap farm down. Now I'm hoping I will come out with a Crunch loaded, but I'm not quite there yet, so I'm going to swap straight away into my Skeledirge, and the opponent actually throws a charge move here. The opponent just going to go for a Power Up Punch, double resisted, also very weak charge move, but unfortunately they've got an Umbreon in the back, so we are getting triple hard countered right now, but we do have coverage in the form of Disarming Voice, so let's see if there's anything we can possibly do up against the Umbreon here. We're going to go for a second Disarming Voice. This is going to hit for super effective damage, and a third Disarming Voice should be enough to KO. I think I will be able to live a foul play from this range. But my switch clock is up. What I should have done is, once I banked the Disarming Voice, swapped back into Krookodile, but instead I go for Disarming Voice. We barely make it to a Crunch. I need this to KO the Medicham from this range, but it doesn't quite take them out there. We get the defense drop, but even a Power Up Punch from this range should be enough damage to take out my Skeledirge, and unfortunately we're not able to take that game, but GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Galarian Stunfisk in the lead, so a great lead for the Krookodile, and the opponent is choosing to stay in, at least initially. They're then going to swap. They catch a double resisted Brick Break onto their Trevenant, but that was also enough energy for a potential Crunch, so the opponent ends up shielding anyways. We now swap into our Skeledirge. I'm definitely going to shield this up. I thought this was just going to be a Seed Bomb, but it's actually a foul play, so I'm glad I shielded that. And now they're going to come in with a Azumarill, so we're going to go straight for the Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball is going to be the hardest hitting move I can throw into Azu. Actually, only Disarming Voice is the other charge move that is not resisted. We're going to go for a second Shadow Ball there. They end up shielding the next move. We're now going to come in with Feraligatr. I'm not going to shield anything from my Feraligatr. The opponent, I think, has farmed to 100 energy. They go for a Play Rough, so I'm going to go for a Hydro Cannon on the CMP type with the next charge move. I'm hoping this KOs from this range, and Hydro Cannon actually doesn't quite take them out there, but it doesn't matter. Just going to let Feraligatr go down. I know my Krookodile with a shield will be able to very easily take out the Galarian Stunfisk, so So I'm just going to shield this up. Let's see, do they bait? No, they're going to full send the Earthquake, and now I can just go for the Brick Break. I actually end up over farming there unnecessarily, but it doesn't really matter. Brick Break takes out the Stunfisk. We can go for the Mudslap farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see a Krookodile into Electabuzz, and this is another one of those teams where I'm just like, I mean, I understand, like, obviously it's still fun for people, even if they don't know what they're doing, but this team is just crazy. Electabuzz in the lead. They've got a Alolan Graveler, Purified as well. We go for the full Mudslap farm down, and they've got a Dedenne in the pack. Now, they are running tackles, so they are at least dealing some decent fast move pressure here, but it doesn't matter. We've got the final shield. I can now go for a crunch, and Krookodile will once again be able to sweep an entire team. Excuse my voice crack there. Yeah, we're able to take that game. I don't know if I even used a shield there. I don't think I did. But into the next game, we see Medicham. So back to reality. Not a great lead. Gonna swap into my Feraligatr, and the opponent is choosing to stay in with their Medicham. So maybe they don't have a strong response to a Feraligatr save swap. We're then gonna land the Hydro Cannon. At this point, I'm definitely gonna shield. I don't care if they even Power Punch bait me, which they end up doing because I still get the Shadow Claw farm down before they make it to the next move, and they've got a Alolan Ninetales in the back. So gonna fire off the Hydro Cannon here. We are back-to-back moves, but unfortunately, that was a CMP tie. And Shadow Feraligatr, fairly classy. I'm not sure if we will live this, but we just barely lived that with 1 HP and a Dream. Get off a second Hydro Cannon, grab both shields from the opponent. We come in with our Skeledirge, and they've got Jellicent in the back. So it makes sense why they didn't swap out of the lead matchup. Feraligatr does pretty good into their entire team, with Shadow Claw and Crunch, of course, as coverage against the Jellicent. Now we're going to go for a Shadow Ball from this range. Shadow Ball takes out the Jellicent. I didn't even need the Krookodile for this battle. We're going to go for a second Shadow Ball here up against the Ninetales, and this will certainly be taking out the Alolan Ninetales, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Clodsire in the lead once again. So a good lead matchup for us, but we are quite glassy, so I'm going to see the opponent going to throw straight away. I'm just going to shield this up. Earthquake would nearly KO. It wouldn't quite take us out there, but they're going to swap into Greninja, and Greninja completely core breaks my team right now. Unfortunately, I can't do much against it at all, and even with a significant energy advantage, I'm only making it to 1 Brick Break before they make it to the first Hydro Cannon. So now I'm going to go for the second Brick Break, and Brick Break is going to grab the final shield back from the opponent. I'm now going to swap into my Shadow Feraligatr. I tried to catch a move. The opponent over farms anyways, but they're still going to have to go for the Night Slash anyway, so it doesn't make too much of a difference here. This, unfortunately, will be enough damage to KO. So Night Slash takes out Feraligatr. We come back in with the Krookodile. We get the Mudslap farm down. And let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come back in with the Clodsire, and what I should have done, I think I came in with my Krookodile straight away. I should have waited that switch clock here, because now, unfortunately, I can't swap out of this matchup, and then they can Shadow Claw farm me all the way down. And whilst, yes, I will be able to live a foul play, I will be able to Incinerate farm them down, I'm not sure if a Shadow Ball will be enough damage to take out the Clodsire. They are very close to another charge move here, so we go for it straight away, and Shadow Ball coming through. Doesn't quite take out the Clodsire. They live with about 2 HP remaining, and now they can go for even a resisted Sludge Bomb, taking out the Skeledirge, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. That was a very winnable game for me, but my opponent just played much better than I did. But into the next battle, we're going to see a Trevenant in the lead. Going to swap out there just because they do outpace me to the charge moves, and unfortunately we're met with another Lantern. Now, not ideal, but once again, we do get a debuff, and this time the opponent's actually going to throw their energy to get rid of me, so that's fine with me. We don't get off a second charge move, we don't grab a shield advantage, but we are now only going to have to tank 1 Surf coming from the Lantern, so I'm going to let this move go through. I will be able to live this, and I should be able to still make it to a crunch, assuming they come back in with the Trevenant, as we do resist the Shadow Claw damage, and I will make it there in time. I thought about baiting with a Brick Break, but this is a very risky bait if they no shield, but they shield, and we get the debuff anyway, so turns out it didn't matter which move I went for. We're now going to come in with the Skeledirge, shield up the Shadow Ball, and the opponent's got a Skarmory in the back, so core broken by Skeledirge. Pretty convenient for me since I've got it in the back, and the rest of my team wasn't doing too well so far. We can go for a Shadow Ball here and grab the final shield from the opponent. Now all I have to do here is make sure I come out with 2 charge moves loaded to throw 1 into the Skarmory and then 1 into the Trevenant coming back in, because I don't believe they had 100 energy. So we go for Disarming Voice, taking out the Skarmory, and I could have gone for either charge move here. They are very low and their health with their Trevenant, and we're able to take out the Trevenant with a Disarming Voice, and I'm able to take that game. So going into the next battle, another Galarian Stunfisk in the lead, so very good lead matchup for me. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into a Swampert. Now, Feraligatr is a decent response just because we do take neutral damage, or sorry, resist the damage from the Hydro Cannons whilst dealing neutral damage, but I mean, I just wanted to make it like a guaranteed win here, and the opponent full sends the Earthquake there, which is good news for me because now this will just be a Hydro Cannon. We will be able to live this. It's not super comfortable, but I can probably overfarm as much as possible, then go for the Hydro Cannon. I try to undercharge this, hoping I get maybe one more Shadow Claw in, but we don't get it. It doesn't really matter because we are hard countering the opponent right now. Gonna go for the Crunch here. Crunch going to get a debuff once again, and now I can go for a Hydro Cannon, and this honestly is going to grab the final shield from the opponent. We're going to come in with the Skeledirge. I swap back into my Krookodile, and I'm not going to bother shielding here. It doesn't matter if they full send an Earthquake, it will be taking me out, but I know that Skeledirge is my win condition. At this point, I can just safely shield once. I should be able to fully Incinerate farm them down at this point. And as well, the Serperior can't really throw much up against me. They can only go for Aerial Ace, which doesn't do much damage, is non-stat. I go for the extra Incinerate just for the sake of it. We can now go for the Shadow Ball once we're at 100 energy, and this will certainly be taking out the Serperior, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Krookodile into a Shadow Dragonair. So a bit of an awkward lead matchup here. We are going to see that the opponent's going to throw straight away, which is good for me because I get a full Mud Slap in for free. We're now going to fire off the Charge Move straight away as well, going for the Brick Break. Brick Break will be grabbing a shield, debuffing their defense, and if they stay in and go for the Dragon Breath farm down, we actually get the farm down first, which is huge for me. And now they come in with a Talonflame. Now, this is just another Brick Break, but we grab the shield from the opponent, the final shield as well, and now they're going to swap into a Lantern, so it's suddenly not looking too good for us. We're going to go for a Crunch here. What I should have done is swapped out straight away. Instead, I tried to be smart, catch a move onto my Skeledirge, but I was in range for them to just go for a Surf up against my Feraligatr and farm me down, so I end up allowing the opponent to make it to 2 charge moves before Skeledirge even makes it to a Shadow Ball, and I couldn't afford to shield that because then the Talonflame just comes in, farms me down, and makes it to a charge move up against my Feraligatr, and unfortunately that charge move just barely doesn't take them out. I needed like 1 HP more, and I would have made it to another charge move and taken that game, but unfortunately, really poorly played end game by me, but GG's to the opponent, very well played. And into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Gallade in the lead. Now, this is quite scary, but I've got shields, so just definitely going to use them. I'm now going to swap here. I was hoping they'd throw straight away, but I mean, they wouldn't. But of course, Skeledirge does resist everything Gallade is typically going to throw, so quite a good hard counter to Shadow Gallade. We're now just going to let this move go through. This will be enough damage to easily take out the Skeledirge. We're now going to come back in with the Krookodile. Honestly, Brick Break, whilst it is super effective, I'm not certain it would KO from this range, so I'm just going to play it safe, go for the Crunch. Crunch does take out the Empoleon. They come back in with the Shadow Gallade, and I'm already expecting, since they've already used a Gallade and Empoleon, it's probably going to be their own Feraligatr in the back, and it is. And now I can make it to a Brick Break before they make it to the Hydro Cannon, and this should seal the nail on the coffin for this opponent, as I will now be able to take them out with a single Hydro Cannon, and nothing they can possibly throw will take me out from this range. So I'm able to tank the Hydro Cannon. They are debuffed in their defense, so Hydro Cannon will be taking out the Shadow Feraligatr, and I'm able to Shadow Claw, farm down Gallade, and take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, another Medicham in the lead. So going to Safe Swap once again into my Shadow Feraligatr, and the opponent responds with a Unnovan Stunfisk, which really is not a good response here. Of course, they can hit full super effective damage with the Discharge, but Hydro Cannon also going to hit full super effective damage, and we do have an energy advantage, so I safely shield that up. They do full send the Discharge. If they baited, it still doesn't matter. We've still got a significant enough energy advantage to always win this in any even shield scenario. Going to shield up the next Discharge. I will once again go for 5 Shadow Claws and then throw on the CMB tie, and from this range this will certainly be enough damage to take out the Unnovan Stunfisk. They come back in with the Medicham. I'm going to overfarm here. The opponent makes a nice catch, but it's onto a Noctowl, a Pokemon that does not resist Hydro Cannon, and that does huge damage here. At this point, there's no point me swapping out. I'm just going to go for another Hydro Cannon, and this will very nearly KO the Noctowl. I'm actually able to Shadow Claw, farm them down. They counter farm me down, but I can come in with my Skeledirge, and this is game over. The opponent going to throw a Charge Move here. The opponent is just going to go for a Dynamic Punch, which is double resisted. They realize there's nothing they can do, so they just concede the match there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Lickitung in the lead. So we're going to stay in this lead matchup initially. Of course, they have to go for a Power Whip to do any, well, super effective damage here. They are of course hitting for resisted damage with the licks, and I don't believe that was quite enough for a power whip, so I let it go through. Just a body slam here. They should be able to outpace me, so I swap into my Skeledoge. I try to catch the charge move, unfortunately not successful. The opponent banks the energy and they come in with their own Shadow Feraligatr. Now this is unfortunately not very good for us. We're going to go for a Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice, I expect to grab a shield. It probably wouldn't take them out there, but we do grab that shield and we essentially just force the opponent to throw their energy straight away. So I'm happy with that. Gonna let this move go through. Gonna come in with my Krookodile here, and I will try to go for a full farm down. Nope, definitely not gonna get it. So I'm gonna have to fire off a Brick Break, but I'm so low that Leaky Tongue can probably just farm me down at this point. So let's see, the opponent comes in with a Trevenant. We're gonna swap into our Shadow Feraligatr, and we are going to shield up the first charge. Of course, Seed Bomb is going to hit for super effective damage. I'm going to overfarm as much as I think I can, and I will fire off the first Hydro Cannon as I reach the back-to-back. And this is actually great that they swap into Leaky Tongue, because now I can fire off the second charge move here, and I think I am just one Mud Slap away from a crunch on my Krookodile. So they're going to go for the Seed Bomb here. It just depends, can we live 2 Shadow Claws, make it to the crunch? No, unfortunately, we were actually 2 Mud Slaps away, so we don't get there in time, but GG's to that opponent. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So yeah, as I said at the start of the video, I made a community post last night talking about potentially introducing memberships, and you can view the bulk of that community post on the screen right now if you haven't already seen it. Of course, a lot of people have suggested that extra perks because the 3 that I listed aren't really enticing enough, but the thing is, I don't really want to put people into a position where they feel like they have to pay for a membership on my channel, otherwise they're going to be missing out on a bunch of great features. I'll be completely transparent, the point of memberships for a content creator is to earn more money, otherwise these perks would already be free. This is my job, by the way, so of course I want to explore more ways to earn revenue, and I obviously don't expect most people to pay for a membership on my channel. Like I've already said, I personally have never even considered becoming a member of any other YouTube channel, but I know there are people out there that really appreciate what I do and would be happy to support my channel this way. Now, for the other perks that people have suggested, stuff like being on my friends list and battling with me is something that I can't offer because I've actually already offered this several times for free as an incentive to take part in my Battle of Spice videos, and I've now got a completely full friends list. I'm certainly not getting rid of some of those friends just to charge other people to be on my friends list. Other people mentioned memberships would be worth it if I streamed and they could use emotes, but to me that kind of feels like another perk that's neither here nor there. I personally don't see the appeal, and I also don't intend on streaming anytime soon, so that's also not something I can offer. I think for now I will just stick to my original plan, and if you don't think it's worth the price, which is actually the smallest amount that I could possibly select by the way, then that's absolutely fine. This is more aimed at people that want to support me for the things that I already do, and then the perks are just very small bonuses that won't make others feel like they're missing out if they can't afford it or don't want to pay towards a membership. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.